Very good evening to one and all. So happy evening. Today we are going to start a new topic for law, CA law, inter CA inter students, and today's topic is Negotiable Instrument Act. Okay. So this is a very important topic, negotiable instrument, which comes about 10 to 15 marks for CA students as well as for CA inter and IPCC students. అండ్ జనరలీ చాలా మంది పర్టికులర్ టాపిక్ ఆఫ్ నెగోషియబుల్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ని అంటే చాలా డ్రైగా ఉంటుంది, అర్థం చేసుకోవడం కష్టం అని నెగ్లెక్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారమ్మా. దిస్ టాపిక్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ బికాస్ ఇన్ డే టు డే లైఫ్ we need to know regarding this particular the concepts of negotiable instrument. Day to day life is very important, and it's once you understand the concept of negotiable instrument, you can write in your own words, and once you listen to the topic content baga ardhamaithe NI Act will be a very easy concept to understand, and you can score easily around 6 to 8 marks from this particular concept of negotiable instruments. If you understand the concept and go and write the exam, you can get even full 10 out of 10. Okay, so all I insist is that everyone should try to please don't skip this particular topic of negotiable instrument. I will explain you in detail. You can ask me questions in your chat box. Okay, so let us, before beginning of this particular topic of negotiable instrument in today's session, our power capsule for today is, okay, the power capsule for today is service. Okay, so leadership is not a position, it is a service to people. Okay, one person can become a leader in either in a profession or in outside. Well, he can become a leader when he does some kind of service to humanity or to his fellow employees or to the house members. Okay, then only you can call him as a real leader. Leader will have a followers because people will get inspired of his qualities, and they will take him as a role model. In the same way, okay, what in order to develop this leadership skill in us, we need to do small acts of kindness. Okay, whatever we can do in whatever time it permits for us, if we start doing small acts, other people also get inspired. Your friends, your employees, your family members, they will also join hands with you for doing the acts of kindness. And if this multiplies, if number of people engage in doing this particular acts, we can transform the entire world. As we all know, during this corona time, so many people like the daily labor and poor people are suffering a lot because they don't have daily wages, they don't have money, they don't have proper food. Whatever service we can do, if we try to help, then small service of us creates a major impact on the society. And this is one of the important leadership quality, doing service to the people, doing service whatever you can do by sharing your knowledge or by giving whatever you have, and by spending time. All these acts of small kindness will improve the skill of leadership in you. So this is the power capsule for today, and very good evening to all the viewers. And before starting this negotiable instrument act, today's topic is negotiable instrument act, and I would give you a brief introduction about the NI Act. Okay, so NI Act మీద చిన్న introduction I would try to teach both in English and Telugu so that it will be easily understood by everyone, because everyone have to understand this particular concept. NI Act in 1881 is one of the oldest act. Okay, so this act was brought to our country by Britishers. Before, actually, as we all know, our India was ruled by Britishers. During that time, when the Indian constitution was not formed, before our independence, during the British rule, they used to follow this NI Act. That's why it commenced from the year 1881. It came into force on March 1st, 1881, NI Act. And the same act, without many changes, we are trying to follow even now. Even after the constitution formed and even after we get the independence, we are trying to implement the same act and same law. And almost this NI Act is applicable to many countries in the world, and the concept is more or less the same. Okay, in the world. But the NI Act 1881, which we are following, is applicable to whole of India. NI Act is applicable to whole of India. Okay, what is the full form of NI? Negotiable instrument. Okay, what is negotiability? Negotiability means transferability. What is instrument? Instrument here means a legal document. What is instrument here? Instrument means a legal document. Negotiability means what? Transferability. transferability. Okay. So this act, why we implemented this act means this act is more helpful for the business people who do lots of transactions and trading activities on credit. Okay, this particular act will regulate the credit transactions which are undertaken by business people and whoever wants to deal with the money. Okay, this act is very helpful. As you all know, what is money? Money is what your currency and notes is called as money. This money is this money, how this money is being circulated as per the orders of the government, and the RBI is in the control of the RBI. Now, this currency and note does not fall in the category of negotiable instrument. Okay. So negotiable instrument does not consider currency and note. It is the currency and note is will fall will be under the control of RBI Act, but not under the Negotiable Instrument Act. Then what instruments, madam, what documents, madam, which are controlled by the NI Act is, there are three important legal documents which have some value to it. See, currency is also a piece of paper. Take some 2000 rupees note. Is it piece of paper or not? Okay, tell me. Is it piece of paper? Yes, it is a piece of paper. Now, if you throw that 2000 rupees somewhere outside, if somebody takes, can he use that particular currency because it is having some value? In the same format, in the same piece of paper, if you, instead of 2000, it's just a normal paper, if you throw, do you bother about that particular paper? No, because it doesn't have any value to it. The 2000 rupee note have a value to it, right? Okay, therefore it can be used for purchasing any commodity or any good. It can be used for any purpose, even though it is a paper. Even though it is a paper, it have value to it. In the same way, negotiable instrument means a piece of paper having some value to it, and whoever possesses that paper, whoever holds the paper, can have a right of taking the money on it. Okay, so if I have 2000 rupees note in my hand, can I purchase it? Can I purchase it whatever I want? Yes, I can purchase. In the same way, if I have a negotiable instrument in my hand, I can utilize the money specified on that particular document. This is a common meaning. Okay, but we should hold it legally. See, somebody's 2000 note, if I take it, I am taking it illegal. It is not valid. In the same way, if the negotiable instrument belongs to somebody else, and if you take it, if you possess it illegal, it is not valid. So legal holding is important. What the act says here is, you should possess the instrument legally. Then only you can have complete right over the instrument or over the document. Okay. So once again, now tell me, does currency and bank notes will fall under the category? Currency notes and coins will fall under the NI Act provisions means? No, not at all. Then what are covered under NI Act? What are covered means? Only three instruments are covered, three documents are covered, and those are promissory note, bill of exchange, and check. Okay, so finally, then what is negotiable instrument, madam? Negotiable means transferability. Instrument means a document. Total negotiable instrument means it's a piece of paper which has some value to it, and it can be freely transferable from one person to another person n number of times until the last person receives money on it. This is the general definition. Okay, ఇలాగా మనము ఈ పర్టికులర్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ని చాలా ఎలాబరేట్ గా, చాలా డిస్క్రిప్టివ్ మేనర్ లో each and every point ni I will discuss. Okay, so first of all, let me explain you. Before explaining, I will show you this particular the slides so that you can nicely follow whatever I'm explaining. Okay, so please have a pen and paper so that you can have a running notes. Whatever I'm telling you can write down and you can understand in a more clear way. The negotiable instruments are of three types. There are promissory. Please, before that, you know, Negotiable Instrument Act is applicable to whole of India. Okay, please note down that sometimes it is asked as a bit. Companies Act is also applicable to whole of India. Negotiable Instrument Act is also applicable to whole of India. So both are applicable. Both are central acts only, and both are applicable to whole of India. Okay. Now, when it comes to the three types of negotiable instruments are promissory note, bill of exchange, and check. Okay. Madam, why these instruments? Why we need to have these instruments? Means it helps It helps the businessman or it helps the normal public to facilitate credit transactions for making credit purchases. It is helpful for credit transactions, is helpful for borrowing money. This particular for negotiable instruments are very helpful, but the currencies and notes does not fall into the category of negotiable instruments. Okay, now what are the features, general features of negotiable instrument? Features means the characteristics, or we have seen the characteristics of a company. In the same way, what are the characteristic features of negotiable instrument? There are freely transferable either by delivery or by endorsement. I will explain you that particular point. Okay, either by delivery or by endorsement, and it is transferred number of times, n number of times, until payment is made on the instrument. Whoever is responsible to make the payment, until he makes the payment, you can transfer. Even though you, here they said, madam, you will have a maturity date. No, madam, maturity date untundi kada, mar maturity date tarvata మనం transfer చేయకూడదు కదా అంటే, no, you can transfer even after the maturity date. ఎప్పటి వరకు ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేసుకోవచ్చు అంటే, ఆ పర్టికులర్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ మీద పేమెంట్ చేయాల్సిన వాళ్ళు పేమెంట్ చేసే అంత వరకు కూడా ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేయొచ్చు. ఓకే, దానికి చిన్న ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తాను. ఐ విల్ స్టార్ట్ విత్ an example. Please listen carefully. Okay, X is a person. X is a person who want a loan amount of 5 lakh rupees. X అనే వ్యక్తికి 5 లక్షల రూపాయల డబ్బు అవసరం ఉంది. X went and approached his friend Y. Y is a financier who is a lender who is doing finance business. He asked Y, please give him 5 lakhs money as a loan. Okay, who asked whom? X asked Y to give 5 lakh rupees as a loan. Okay, ఇప్పుడు what happened is Y is ready to give money to X because since he is a friend, but Y is asking for a proof of their transaction. Therefore, Y asked X, please give me a promissory note because I want a proof that I have given you money and you promised me to discharge this loan after some 6 months. You told you would make the payment after 6 months with some interest amount of 10%. Okay, you promised me, no, so I want this particular promise in writing. Oral promise is not valid under negotiable instrument act. Oral promise is not valid, therefore the promise should be in a written form. Okay, who is asking to give a promissory note? Why? Who had made payment, who have given money, who had given loan to X, asked X, please give me the promissory note. Please prepare a promissory note and give it to me because I will keep it as a proof with myself and wait till completion of 6 months. And when the due date arrives, please, I will show this document and you need to pay me the money. అని Y X తో అన్నాడంట. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ Y అనేవాడు అప్పిచ్చిన వాడు. ఓకే, Y is a person who have given loan. He is a creditor who have given loan to Mr. X. ఓకే, X కి అమౌంట్ ఇచ్చాడు. X దానికి ప్రూఫ్ గా ఒక రిటర్న్ డాక్యుమెంట్ ని ప్రిపేర్ చేశాడు. That written document is called as a promissory note. See how the promissory note is there. I am showing here a picture. See, X is preparing a promissory note and giving this promissory note to whom? To Y. So ఇక్కడ Y ఏమవుతాడో తెలుసామా? Y is the person who will hold the promissory note until the due date. Okay, Y will hold the promissory note, therefore he is a creditor for the promissory note and he is a holder of the promissory note. Okay, so this Y is having some legal document on which he will receive the payment on the due date. Okay, so తన దగ్గర చాలా విలువైన పత్రం ఉంది, దాని మీద పేమెంట్ అతనికి డ్యూ డేట్ లో వస్తుంది. ఓకే, అందుకని ఇక్కడ Y హోల్డర్ అవుతాడు. ఎవరు ప్రామిసరీ నోట్ ని ప్రిపేర్ చేశాడు? Who prepared the promissory note here? X, who asked for money, who borrowed the money, is the person who will prepare a promissory note. Therefore, the person who is preparing the promissory note is called as maker. Understood? Promissory note have two parties. You know, one person is borrowing the money, other person is giving the money. The person who is borrowing is called debtor. The person who is giving money is called as creditor. Okay, and ikkada NIAC terminology koste, when it come to NIAC terminology, the person who is borrowing the money and preparing the promissory note is called as maker. So please note down, students, who is called maker means a person who borrows the money and prepares the promissory note. Okay, and the person who gives the money, okay, and person who lends the money is called as a payee or the creditor. Okay, now who is preparing the promissory note? Maker. Therefore, whose signature is important on promissory note? Maker signature is important on promissory note. Therefore, maker will prepare the promissory note and he will sign and he will deliver it. He will sign and he will deliver it to Mr. Y, who is the holder of the instrument or payee of the instrument. Okay, so when this particular X who is delivering it, he is delivering that particular instrument. Therefore, he is transferring the instrument to Mr. Y, who holds it as a proof until he receives the payment. Okay, until he gets the payment, he can wait. In between, before 6 months, he is in urgent need of funds. The holder Y is urgent need of funds. Okay, now he wants to transfer this instrument to some other person Z. At the time of transfer, on the back of the instrument, if he signs as Y, the holder signs in transferring or endorsing the instrument Mr. Z to Z is called as endorsement by delivery. Okay, it is called as delivery by endorsement. Okay, so normal delivery means just giving away the instrument. Okay, when you are writing, when you are signing on the particular instrument, and if you are transferring to some other party, then it is called endorsement and delivery. Okay, it is called as an endorsement and delivery. Here, what they are saying in negotiable instrument, ఎన్నిసార్లు మనం అలా ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేయొచ్చట, ఎన్నిసార్లు అలా మనం ఎండోర్స్ చేయొచ్చటే, we can transfer n number of times until X makes the payment. Who has borrowed money on the instrument? Who promised to pay money on the instrument? X, no. Therefore, until X makes the payment, until the maker makes the payment, the holder of the instrument can endorse the instrument. That is why in the negotiable instrument act they say that it can be transferred n number of times. How many times it can be transferred? N number of times. Okay, okay. And do that particular transfer have some consideration? Does the paper have some value or without value or without consideration they are transforming? Yes, it has some value and it is having some consideration. So it is freely transferable. It can be transferred either to order or bearer of the instrument. Okay, bearer means without specifying the name. If you generally transfer, okay, then it is called as a bearer instrument. Okay, then and it can be transferred how many number of times? N number of times. Okay, and for here the instrument is having good title or bad title? Good title only, because here there is nothing illegal happened. Everything is going in order. Nobody has stolen away that particular instrument from somebody. Okay, so the instrument is having good title and it is having some consideration. So all these are essential features of a negotiable instrument. It should be freely transferable. Okay, it should have some consideration and it is having a good title. All these are general features of a negotiable instrument. Okay, so what are the presumptions? In case of negotiable instrument, until the contrary is proved, okay, generally until it is proved in the court of law, we consider these are general presumptions or assumptions of a negotiable instrument. Okay, compulsorily. Okay, the negotiable instrument will be called legal document only when if it is an ordinary paper, you will call it as a legal document. I have a paper in my notebook. I just tear that particular paper and through. Does it have any legal validity? No. Okay. So why the paper is legal have validity? Because the paper have some value in it. Paper is worth of something. Generally, precious things are only having the legal validity. That's why here consideration means the negotiable instruments are having the consideration. It is prepared because there is some consideration, because there is some money involved in it. Okay, that is why consideration. We presume that every negotiable instrument act is having some consideration. Okay, so consideration is one of the important presumption. Okay, you can mention, you can write the amount, or if you don't write also, the instrument is valid. When it will be valid, you will know in later classes. Okay, if you write the consideration also, okay. If you don't specify the consideration, if you leave the place of consideration as blank also, okay, it still have the legal validity, and you will know when it is called as a blank. Okay, now next, date. What is called as date, madam? When it is said to be, it is dated. The date which is specified by the maker on the instrument is called as a date of the instrument on which it is drawn or made. Suppose if X, the maker, have mentioned and he wrote on the instrument, I promised on respective date. Suppose today's date, if they mention, if they write it as 7th June 2020, I promised to pay this much worth of money to so and so. If I write the specific date of 7th, it is prepared, it is made on this particular date on which it is signed by the maker. So it is a date on which is showing on the face of the instrument is called as a date. Okay. Now, time of acceptance. The word acceptance is generally, it comes in case of a bill of exchange. I will explain you when we are dealing with the topic of bill of exchange. Okay. Time of transfer. How many times you can transfer the instrument, madam? Okay. Here I have already told you it can be transferred n number of times, madam, but they are saying only you can transfer it in maturity date. No. You can transfer even after the maturity date. We presume generally, we think that by maturity date, the particular person who is liable to make the payment on the instrument pay చేసేస్తాడనే ఉద్దేశంతో మెచ్యూరిటీ టైం కన్నా ముందే పే చేసేస్తాడనే ఉద్దేశంతో మనం అనుకుంటాం. కానీ మెచ్యూరిటీ డేట్ రోజు కూడా మనకి పేమెంట్ రాలేదే అనుకోండి, ఎవరైతే పే చేయాలో వాళ్ళు పే చేయలేదే అనుకోండి అమ్మా, ఈవెన్ ఆఫ్టర్ ద మెచ్యూరిటీ డేట్ ద హోల్డర్ కెన్ ఎండోర్స్ ఆర్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ ద ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్. Okay, so this is regarding the transfer. Therefore, it is transferred n number of times. Okay, next, duly stamped. Yes, for bill of exchange and promissory note are duly stamped. On check, you don't find any stamp. ఓకే, స్టాంప్ అనేది మనం కేవలం బిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ ప్రామిసరీ నోట్ మీదే స్టాంప్స్ చూస్తామండి. ఓకేనా? అండ్ యూ డోంట్ ఫైండ్ ఎనీ స్టాంప్ ఆన్ చెక్. చెక్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఎ స్టాంప్డ్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ఎట్ ఆల్. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఇస్ అన్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్. హోల్డర్ ఇన్ డ్యూ కోర్స్. ఎవరైతే ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ని హోల్డ్ చేస్తారో, ఎవరికైతే పేమెంట్ రావాలో ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ మీద, ఎవరినైతే క్రెడిటార్ అంటామో, అంటే ఎవరికైతే ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ మీద నుంచి పేమెంట్ రావాలో, దట్ పర్టికులర్ ఇండివిజువల్ who have to receive the money on the instrument is called as a holder or holder in due course. And however, the holder in due course have to satisfy 3 important criteria, then only will be called as holder in due course. Okay, జాగ్రత్తగా వినండి. జనరల్ గా ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ని హోల్డ్ చేసి పేమెంట్ తీసుకునే రైట్ ఎవరికైతే ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ మీద ఉంటుందో, ఆ దట్ పర్టికులర్ పర్సన్ యూ కాల్ హిమ్ యాజ్ ఎ హోల్డర్. Okay, however, this particular holder will be called as holder in due course if he satisfies 3 conditions. 3 conditions satisfy చేస్తే holder in due course గా మనం చెప్తాము. What are the 3 conditions to be satisfied, madam? Number 1, holder should take the instrument before the due date, అంటే before the maturity ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ తన దగ్గరికి రావాలి. Number 2, he should take the instrument in good faith. In good faith అంటే ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ని దొంగతనంగా గానీ ఇల్లీగల్ గా గానీ తీసుకోకూడదు. In good faith. And he should take the instrument for consideration. ఈ 3 points satisfy అయితే then the holder can get an rank or can be called as a holder in due course. Okay, holder in due course అవ్వాలంటే what are the 3 important points he need to satisfy? He should take the instrument in good faith, for consideration, before maturity, then you call him as a holder. These are 3 important qualifications for holder in due course. Okay, now next, order of the instrument. Order of the instrument means what? Suppose the instrument is transferred from X to Y, Y to Z, Z to P, P to Q, Q to R. You should follow the same order only. You cannot follow the names or order whatever you like. Therefore, endorsement appearing on the negotiable instrument is order how it is transferred. The same order you need to follow. Okay, that's very, very important. Assumptions, unless and until you prove them contrary, అది లేదు అని మనం ప్రూవ్ చేసేంత వరకు we assume these all are necessary for a negotiable instrument. Okay, so this is all about a general introduction of negotiable instrument. Now tell me, what are the 3 important recognizable negotiable instruments? Bill of exchange, promissory note, and check. And in olden days, there is a concept called as hundis. Hundis, generally a bit will ask regarding the concept of hundis. I have seen in few examination papers, number of times this particular bit is being asked. Hundi is also a kind of a bill of exchange. which is made in the local language as per the state, whatever local language they are having in the local language, this particular hundi, it's a kind of a bill of exchange. Okay, there is separate hundis relating the act and legal rules are applicable. If those rules are not applicable, if in respective rules are not applicable, you can apply the NI Act rules to hundis. Okay, so this is a very important bit which is asked number of times. If the local rules and customs are not applicable to hundi, then you can use what rules? NI Act rules. Okay, so with this particular, just you read it for the sake of bit which is asked in your examinations. Okay, now come back to the point of promissory note. Okay, and we have seen this particular picture of promissory note. Okay, stamp is compulsory for promissory note. There is date is mentioned there, signature of maker is there, and how much amount is payable along with interest is also specified in the promissory note. These all are essentials for a promissory note. So here what they are saying, a promissory note is an instrument in writing. So oral promise is valid, madam. If I call to my friend and my friend is giving me a loan of 5 lakh rupees, if I call to my friend, I say, okay, I received 5 lakh rupees in my account, you have transferred 5 lakh rupees. No, I received and I promised to pay after 3 months. And I'm promising you over the phone. Please accept my promise. Is this valid? ఫోన్ ద్వారా ఓరల్ ప్రామిస్ చేస్తే సరిపోతుందా, లేకపోతే వాట్సాప్ కాల్ ద్వారాను లేకపోతే జూమ్ కాల్ ద్వారాను మీరు ప్రామిస్ చేస్తున్నట్టుగా ఇలా చూపించి మరి మనం ప్రామిస్ చేస్తే సరిపోతుందా? నో, నాట్ ఎట్ ఆల్. ఓరల్ ప్రామిస్ is not valid accordingly. You cannot call it as a negotiable instrument. A promissory note should be mandatorily in writing and an unconditional. There should not be any condition. The person who borrowed money should not keep any condition. I promise to pay to my friend only after his marriage with some P. What are those conditions? How is your payment related to his marriage? Is it acceptable? Is it comparable? Such conditions are valid. Okay, if you keep such conditions, it means that you are indirectly telling him, I would avoid the payment in future. I would take this friendship for granted and I would avoid this payment in future. So indirectly you are indicating him by keeping a condition. Like this unrelated conditions which are not acceptable are not valid under Negotiable Instrument Act. Okay, a promissory note should be an instrument in writing containing an unconditional undertaking and it is signed by the maker. Who is maker of the promissory note? The borrower. The debtor who borrows the money on the instrument is called as a maker. That is why you call him as a maker, because he's preparing the promissory note and he's promising and he's saying that I would pay this amount along with interest after so and so months, after 3 months or after 2 months, etc. And he's saying to a specific person, certain person, ఎవరికి పే చేస్తామన్నది కూడా చాలా క్లియర్ గా మెన్షన్ చేయాలి. అతనికి కానీ లేకపోతే అతను ఎవరికైనా చెప్తే వాళ్ళకి కానీ, to that person or to the order of that person. X is saying that I would make a payment to Y or his order. అంటే లేదు Y అన్నాడు నాకు కాదు, B నా ఫ్రెండ్ ఇంకోటి అతనికి నేను ఆల్రెడీ అప్పున్నానని చెప్పాడు అనుకోండి, అతను ఎవరికి చెప్తే వాళ్ళకి పేమెంట్ చేయాలి, లేదా అతను ఎవరికి ఎండోర్స్ చేస్తే వాళ్ళకి మనం పేమెంట్ చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది. దట్ ఈస్ వై ద పర్సన్ షుడ్ బి సర్టైన్ ఆర్ ది ఆర్డర్ ఆఫ్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ సర్టైన్ పర్సన్. ఓకేనా? సో దిస్ ఇస్ ఆల్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. అండ్ ఆన్ దిస్ ప్రామిసరీ నోట్, whose is the primary liability to make the payment, the instrument will be discharged. The instrument will be discharged only when the primary party makes the payment. The primary party who borrowed the money on this particular instrument, who is he? The maker. Therefore, another name for the maker, what you know, is called as primary party liable on the instrument. Please note down, students. These are different terminologies you come across this particular chapter. Okay, who is a maker? He is basically a debtor. He is a borrower who borrowed the loan. And another name for him is primary party liable on the instrument. He is the person who will prepare the promissory note. Therefore, he is also called as a maker of the promissory note. And if he prepares, is it sufficient? If he just write a promissory note మీద I promise to pay, నేను ఖచ్చితంగా పే చేస్తాను 3 నెలల తర్వాత అని రాసేసి వదిలేస్తే సరిపోతుందా? కంపల్సరీగా అది నేనే రాశాను అన్న ప్రూఫ్ ఏమిటి? దట్ ఎక్స్ ఓన్లీ రోట్ అన్న దానికి ప్రూఫ్ ఏంటి? దట్ హీ షుడ్ అథెంటికేట్ ఇట్. A document or a writing gets proof only when it is authenticated or signed by the person who is writing it. ఎవరైతే దాన్ని రాస్తారో వాళ్ళు సైన్ చేస్తేనే దానికి ఒక అథెంటికేషన్ కానీ దానికి ఒక ప్రూఫ్ కానీ వస్తుంది. నేను రాశాను, ఐ రైట్ ఆన్ సో మెనీ పేపర్స్, Okay, I write on so many papers. Does it have any validity? నేనే పే చేయాలని ఎక్కడైనా రూల్ ఉందా? లేదు. Because only when the sign is made, therefore sign is giving the legal validity for that particular note. Therefore signature is very very important in case of promissory note. You cannot avoid signatures on any negotiable instrument. నెగోషియబుల్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ లీగల్ గా చెల్లాలంటే, నెగోషియబుల్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ లీగల్ గా వ్యాలిడ్ అవ్వాలంటే ఖచ్చితంగా ఏముండాలి? సైన్ ఉండాలి. ఎవరైతే సైన్ చేయాలో వాళ్ళ సంతకం లేకపోతే నెగోషియబుల్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ఇన్వాలిడ్ అవుతుంది. ఇక్కడ ఎవరైతే అప్పు తీసుకున్నారో వాళ్ళ సంతకం పెట్టాలి, కాబట్టి వాళ్ళ సంతకం ఉంటేనే ప్రామిసరీ నోట్ చెల్లుతుంది, లేకపోతే చెల్లదు. ఓకేనా? సో ద పర్సన్ హూ ఇస్ మేకింగ్ ద ప్రామిసరీ నోట్ ఇస్ ద పర్సన్ హూ borrowed the money, therefore his signature is important on the promissory note. Understood? Okay, fine. Now the person to whom the instrument is given, the person from whom the money is borrowed, and the creditor of the instrument is called as a payee, who will receive the money from the maker on the due date. Okay, now, so what are the essential values of a promissory note? It should be in writing. Oral promise is not at all sufficient. Compulsory handwritten gani printed form lo gani undali. Express promise to pay is very very important. You should mandatorily use this particular word. I promise to pay, or mere acknowledgement of my indebtedness, or I promise to pay అన్న ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ ప్రామిస్. అంటే నేను ఖచ్చితంగా పే చేస్తాను, నేను ప్రామిస్ చేస్తున్నాను అని డైరెక్ట్ గా కానీ ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా కానీ ఆ పదాలు వచ్చేటట్టు రాస్తేనే ఆ ప్రామిసరీ నోట్ చెల్లుతుంది. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఈస్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ యువర్ essentials of a promissory note. Example, I acknowledge myself. I acknowledge. What is the meaning of acknowledge? Ante acceptance. నేను అప్పు తీసుకున్నాను, నేను అప్పు ఉన్నాను అని నేను acknowledge చేస్తున్నాను. acknowledge చేయడం అంటే ఏంటమ్మా? యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయడం. ఓకే, నేను అప్పున్నాను అని నువ్వు యాక్సెప్ట్ చేస్తూ ఒక కాగితం మీద నువ్వు రాస్తే దాన్ని ప్రామిసరీ నోట్ గా చెప్తామన్నమాట. ఓకే, పేమెంట్ అనేది మనం ఎలా చేయొచ్చు? కొన్ని నెలల తర్వాత అయినా చేయొచ్చు, లేకపోతే ఆన్ డిమాండ్ పేమెంట్ అని కూడా అంటాం. అంటే నువ్వు ఎప్పుడు అడిగితే నేను అప్పుడు పే చేస్తాను అని సిద్ధంగా ఉన్నారనుకోండమ్మా, దాన్ని ఆన్ డిమాండ్ అంటారు. వెన్ ఎవర్ యూ ఆస్క్ ఐ విల్ మేక్. యూ అంటే ఎవరు ఇక్కడ? ద హోల్డర్ ఆఫ్ ద ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్. వెన్ ఎవర్ యూ ఆస్క్ ఐ విల్ మేక్ ద పేమెంట్, ఆర్ ఐ మేక్ ద పేమెంట్ ఆఫ్టర్ 3 months అన్నాడు అనుకోండి, దిస్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ ఎస్ టైం. అంటే మనం స్పెసిఫిక్ గా టైం అనేది మెన్షన్ చేస్తున్నాం కాబట్టి దాన్ని టైం ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ గా మనం చెప్పచ్చు. అర్థమవుతుందా నాన్న? ఇక్కడ చూడండి, నెక్స్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. మిస్టర్ బి, ఐ ఓ యూ ₹100. ఇస్ ఇట్ వ్యాలిడ్? నేను అంటే మిస్టర్ బి నేను నీకు అప్పున్నాను అంటే సరిపోతుందా? అవును, అప్పున్నావు, నువ్వు కడతావా లేదా అనే విషయం చెప్పట్లేదు కదా. వెదర్ యూ విల్ పే ఆర్ నాట్, యు ఆర్ నాట్ స్పెసిఫైయింగ్. నో, how do I know you will pay or not? You can escape from the payment because you are not mentioning the words I promise to pay or promise to pay అన్న వర్డ్స్ ఏ లేదు, ఎక్నాలెడ్జ్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ డెట్ ఏ లేదు, నువ్వు నేను అప్పున్నాను నేను అప్పు తీరుస్తాను అన్న యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ ఏ లేదు ఇక్కడ. therefore it is not a valid promissory note. just simply writing I owe you is not at all valid because there is no promise to pay. These things can be asked as a big or small practical questions. Please make it as an important note of it. Okay, so this is very very important, whether to find out whether it is valid promise to pay or not. Okay, next, and it should be definite. ante amount meer pay cheyalo ante amount clear ga mention cheyalama. I promise to pay, I think I need to pay somewhere around 99,980 rupees or 88 rupees approximately ante kudaradu akkada. You need to write a definite amount, whether you are going to pay 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees. You have to give a round figure amount. You can't give approximate amount. That's why whatever amount you have to pay, it should be definite, and you should also mention the interest rate along with it. Okay, and there should not be any conditional promise. I promise to pay after my after I get sufficient funds or after I do sufficient sales. I promise to pay only on only when India win a match with Pakistan. Like that, if you keep some conditions which may happen, may not happen, it is uncertain. Okay, I promise to pay only when Corona disappears from the world. What are these conditions? They may happen, may not happen. Otherwise, we have to live along with Corona. We don't know. No, if you keep such conditions, they are invalid. However, what the NI Act says is you should keep some condition which is definite to happen. Definitely, it may happen in some time. It may happen early or it may happen late, but it will happen in lifetime. So, what is the only one conditions which is acceptable by NI Act is death. Okay, see how nice it is. Because death, everyone will die. Can you show anyone who is without death is still alive on this particular earth? No, everyone will die. But some may die at 60 years, some may die at 70, some may die at 80, or some may die at 30 years old. We don't know, no. The age is fixed by the God. It is in God's hand, but we will die. That is definitely will happen. The condition which is definitely going to happen, ఏదైతే ఖచ్చితంగా జరుగుతుందో ఆ కండిషన్ చెల్లుతుందంట. అంటే ఏంటి మేడం? If I can write the promissory note in this way, I promise to pay rupees 5 lakhs to Mr. Y on the death of my grandfather after my death of grandfather. Yes, it is valid. NI Act is considering it as valid because death is definitely to happen. Other than death, whatever you write, those are conditions only which are not at all valid. You can blindly say they are not valid under the provisions of NI Act. Okay, the condition of death is only certain to happen, therefore it is valid under promissory note. So simple. Okay, this point is very clear. Now, next, it is signed by the maker. Maker only should sign. On behalf of maker, nobody else should sign. I am maker's wife. Can I sign? No. Maker only should sign. Otherwise, you will be lying. Okay. Instead of maker, if anybody else sign, they will be lying on the instrument. They have to make the payment. Okay. And this particular maker should always be a major. He should not be a minor person. However, holder of the instrument, person who receives the money, creator can be a minor, but the person who is liable on the instrument should be mandatorily a major. Minor is not acceptable. Understood? Therefore, promissory note should be signed by a maker. Then, and signature can be kept at any part on the instrument. There is no specific part. You can keep wherever there is option of signing, there you can mention the signature. And here, promise to pay certain sum. I have already told you, no, you cannot give any approximate amounts. You cannot write the amounts as you should give a certain amount, fixed amount you have to mention. I promise to pay Balwant rupees 2,500 and all other sums which shall be due to him. What all other sums? Why are you giving option to him? All other sums also you mention clearly whether it is extra 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. Okay, so that particular amount should be certain and it should not be in kind. See the above example. I promise to pay Balwant rupees 1,200 and deliver my rabbit to him on 1st March 2021. What rabbit? I would deliver him my horse. I would deliver him my watch. I would deliver him my rabbit instead of money. You cannot give those all kind. If you want, you can gift him. Okay, but you cannot give instead of giving money. Money means money only. You should give him cash or check, whatever way the money form is. Okay, no other kind is not at all acceptable in case of negotiable instrument. Negotiable instrument deals with only cash and money, but not in kind. Okay, therefore it is not a valid promissory note. Instead of cash or instead of money, if you are ready to give some rabbit or horse or watch, which is not at all valid. And the amount of money should also be clear and certain. You cannot give any approximate amounts. Okay, you cannot speculate the amount there. Then you should give an exact amount or exact number. How much amount you are debt to him. Okay, these are very important. Keep in mind whether from these only we will find out whether it is a valid promissory note or not. Okay, and payee must be a certain person or an institution. Payee means the person, the creditor can be an individual or he can be an institution. He can be certain. He should be certain. He should be identifiable. Okay, he cannot be a fake person. He is identifiable. Okay, this is also important. Next, it should be stamped. Promissory note is a stamped instrument, and the stamp is paid according to Stamp Tax of India. Okay, the Stamp Tax prakaramu stamp అనేది compulsory promissory note మీద. See how is the specimen of a promissory note, the signature, stamp, payee name, amount, how they are writing. You can see in this particular slide. These are the important characteristic features of a promissory note. Okay, I hope everyone understood. Therefore, promissory note is an instrument in writing containing an unconditional order signed by the maker to pay certain sum of money to the order or the bearer of the instrument. And here, very important note, everyone will have to write down, which would be asked in your examination. And promissory notes are never a bearer instrument. Okay, you cannot transfer it as a bearer without mentioning the name of payee. You cannot transfer the instrument. So it is never a bearer instrument. Okay. However, currency notes and like our money notes which are prepared by RBI are bearer promissory notes, because generally when everyone observes the currency, you can see the amount. Gandhiji's photo you can see, and beside Gandhiji's photo you have an amount. But when you look down, kinda chuste that there is I promise to pay, the promise to pay worth of so and so amount is written by the RBI. Therefore, the currency note can be called as a bearer instrument, and promissory note is never a bearer instrument. Please note down, promissory note is never a bearer instrument. Bill of exchange and check can be a bearer instrument, sir. But promissory note is not at all a bearer instrument. Please note it down, important examination bit. Okay. So this is all about your promissory note. And regarding this promissory note, at the end we have few cases, we have few practical questions. I will discuss at that particular point. Once we listen to this concept carefully, then we will go to that particular next part of the case laws. Okay. Now, what are the three negotiable instruments? Promissory note, bill of exchange, and check. Promissory note is over. Okay. Once again, I will ask you, how many parties are there in promissory note? Two parties, the maker and the payee. Maker is the person who is borrowing money on the promissory note, and he is the person who is preparing the promissory note and signing the promissory note. Okay, these 3 points are very important. Since the maker is signing the promissory note, he is the primary party liable on the instrument. Only when he makes the payment on the instrument will be discharged. Okay, ఎప్పుడైతే మేకర్ పే చేస్తాడో అప్పుడే ఆ పర్టికులర్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ డిశ్చార్జ్ అవుతుంది. అతను పే చేసే అంత వరకు కూడా హోల్డరు ఎన్నిసార్లు కావాలంటే అన్నిసార్లు ఆ పర్టికులర్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేసుకోవచ్చు లేదా ఎండోర్స్ చేసుకోవచ్చు అని చెప్తున్నారు. ఓకేనా, అది ఓకే. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ద మేకర్ అండ్ పే అంటే ఎవరు? హోల్డర్ అనొచ్చు. అతని పర్టికులర్ హోల్డర్ ఇన్ డ్యూ కోర్స్ గా 3 కండిషన్స్ సాటిస్ఫై చేస్తే అతను మనకు హోల్డర్ ఇన్ డ్యూ కోర్స్ గా కూడా చెప్పచ్చు. అండ్ హీస్ అ క్రెడిటార్ ఆఫ్ ద ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఈస్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ ప్రామిసరీ నోట్. Now next come into bill of exchange. Before explaining you, I will easily explain you the concept of bill of exchange. Okay, bill. What is bill? Bill means what? Suppose when you go for shopping, when you go to shop your clothes on the occasion of your birthday, you went to a nice big shopping mall. You purchased a nice dress for 5,000 rupees. Okay, before taking your dress, where do you go to pay amount? You go to a cash counter దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి మనం అమౌంట్ పే చేసి మనం డ్రెస్ బ్యాగ్ తీసుకుంటాం. బట్ when you make the payment, you ask for bill కదా. Who will prepare the bill? You yourself will take one piece of paper from your bag, you will write the amount and you will give it to the shopkeeper. A shopkeeper prepares the bill. Who will prepare the bill? The shopkeeper only will prepare the bill. Therefore, the person who is preparing the bill is called a seller. Understood now? Who will prepare the bill? In this case, who is preparing the bill? The seller will prepare. Wherever shop you go, whatever thing you buy. Okay, when you buy something, you should ask for a bill. Okay, then the payment can be made in 2 ways. If you have cash in your bank, you make the payment through cash. Or if you have a card in your hand, you will pay through a card. So payment can be made on cash basis or on credit basis. Okay. Now, so who will prepare the bill? I'm asking you. The seller is preparing the bill. And seller will prepare the bill. And suppose if you purchase the goods on credit, if you are a regular customer to that particular shopkeeper, you are a regular customer. Every month you come and purchase in wholesale the cloth. Okay, you are purchasing in wholesale every month. You are taking back to your native place and you are selling them as a retail market. ఓకే, అలాంటప్పుడు మనం రెగ్యులర్ గా వచ్చి పర్చేస్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు, ఇఫ్ యూఆర్ రెగ్యులర్ కస్టమర్ టు దట్ పర్టికులర్ షాప్ కీపర్, జనరల్ గా ఆ హోల్సేల్ షాప్ కీపర్స్ విల్ గివ్ అస్ క్రెడిట్, విల్ గివ్ అస్ సమ్ టైమ్ టు మేక్ ద పేమెంట్. అంటే మనకు తెలిసిన వాళ్ళం కదా, మనకు తెలిసిన వ్యక్తులు కదా, మనం ప్రతి నెల రెగ్యులర్ బేసిస్ మీద వెళ్ళి కొంటూ ఉంటాం కాబట్టి మనకి ఏం చేస్తారంటే షాప్ కీపర్ దే విల్ గివ్ సమ్ టైమ్ ఆర్ సమ్ క్రెడిట్ ఫర్ ద పర్చేజ్ ఆఫ్ దీస్ పర్టికులర్ అంటే ఫర్ మేకింగ్ అంటే రిసీవింగ్ ద పేమెంట్. మనం పర్చేస్ చేసిన వాటికి పేమెంట్ కోసం మనకు కొంచెం రిలాక్స్డ్ టైం అనేది మనకి ఇస్తారు, వెంటనే పే చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. ఓకే, దెన్ యూ ప్రిపేర్ బిల్ ఆన్ క్రెడిట్ బేసిస్ విచ్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ ఎ బిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్. అప్పుడు మనము బిల్ ని క్రెడిట్ బేసిస్ మీద ప్రిపేర్ చేస్తాము, దాన్ని మనం ఏమనొచ్చమ్మా, దాని బిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ గా అంటాము. ద పర్సన్ హూ ఇస్ ప్రిపేరింగ్ ద బిల్, the creditor, the seller is called as drawer of the instrument. Here understand everyone, The person who is preparing the bill, the person who is drawing the bill, the person who is making the bill is called as drawer of the instrument. He's a creditor of the instrument. He's a seller of the goods. Okay. So that particular seller will prepare the bill. Drawer will write, I sold goods worth of rupees 10 lakhs to Mr. Raju. Okay, and who is the buyer here? Raju. And here the payment would be paid within 3 months. Interest at the rate of 10% is written by the seller. Seller on his letterhead, he will write that particular details. Okay, and he will give it to Raju. The Raju, the buyer, will see the bill. Before signing the sale, everyone will see the bill. మన ఏదైనా అక్కడ సంతకం పెట్టేటప్పుడు ముందు చూస్తామా ఏం రాసామో ఏం రాస్తుందో అని అలాగా లేకపోతే బ్లైండ్ గా మన సంతకాలు చేసేస్తామా అమ్మా నో కదా ఓకే after the seller prepares the bill in his letterhead and he hands over it to Raju the buyer. Raju will see okay what it is written on the bill. The seller wrote that he would make a payment after 3 months along with interest of 10%. Okay, fine, I am accepting. No, okay, after reading I should accept it. No, then only I can take the goods and go out of that particular shop. నేను దాన్ని ఒప్పుకోవాలిగా ఒప్పుకుంటా తర్వాతే కానీ నా గూడ్స్ ఆ షాప్ నుంచి తీసుకెళ్లి బయట బిజినెస్ చేసుకోగలుగుతాను. సో అలాంటప్పుడు నేను ఆ పర్టికులర్ బిల్ ని చూసి యాక్సెప్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను కాబట్టి ద పర్సన్ హూ ఇస్ యాక్సెప్టింగ్ ద బిల్ అండ్ సైనింగ్ ద బిల్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ యాక్సెప్టర్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ బిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్. అండర్స్టాండ్? The person who have accepted the bill and signed the bill is called as acceptor or drawee in case of bill. Two names are there. He is called as acceptor or the drawee. Now tell me, the person who is preparing the bill is a seller. The person who is accepting the bill and signing the bill is the buyer. Did you understand the difference between promissory note and bill of exchange? Okay. Now once again, I will tell you this particular terminology. These terminologies are very, very important to understand the concept. If at all, when I'm telling you can easily note down these points. In case of bill of exchange, there are two parties. Okay, what transaction is taking place here? Credit sale transaction is taking place. What transaction is taking place? Credit sale is taking place. The person who is selling the good is the person who will prepare the bill. Therefore, it's the person who draws the bill. That's why he's called as drawer of the instrument. And the person who buys the goods, the buyer, he bought the goods on credit. Therefore, he will accept the bill and sign that he would make payment in future. Okay, after 3 months or after 6 months accordingly, as written on the instrument. The person who is signing, the person who is accepting the bill and signing is called as acceptor or drawee of the instrument. అయితే బయ్యర్ దాన్ని చదివి సంతకం చేసిన తర్వాత ఆ బిల్లుని మళ్ళీ వెనక్కి ఎవరికి ఇచ్చేయాలి? ఆ పర్టికులర్ బిల్లుని సెల్లర్ కి ఇచ్చేయాలండి. ఓకే, సంతకం పెట్టేసి ఆ బిల్లుని జోబులో పెట్టుకుని వెళ్ళిపోకూడదు. బికాస్ హియర్ యూ డి నాట్ డూ ఎనీ క్యాష్ పర్చేస్, యూ డిడ్ క్రెడిట్ పర్చేస్ హియర్. సో ఫర్ ద ప్రూఫ్ ఆఫ్ క్రెడిట్ పర్చేస్ ద బిల్ ఈస్ అగైన్ హ్యాండెడ్ ఓవర్ టు ద డ్రాయర్ whoever has prepared. The seller will keep him safely. Seller will keep safely the credit bill with him. He'll keep safely until he gets cash on it. అతనికి ఆ పర్టికులర్ బిల్ మీద అమౌంట్ వచ్చేంత వరకు కూడా ఆ బిల్లుని జాగ్రత్తగా హోల్డ్ చేస్తాడు ద డ్రాయర్. The drawer of the instrument will hold the instrument until he receives the payment from drawee. Now tell me, whose signature is important on the bill? Seller signature or buyer signature? Ever santakam important bill meeda? Buyer signature is important. The person who is accepting the bill, his signature is important on that particular bill. Okay, therefore acceptor sign is important in case of the bill of exchange and he is the primary party liable to make the payment on the bill. Okay, who is the primary party to make payment on the bill? The acceptor or the drawee. You can call him as drawee as well as acceptor. Therefore, initially bill of exchange lo enta mandi parties untaru? How many parties are there in case of a bill of exchange? Two parties. There are seller, that is general common man అర్థమయ్యేటట్టు common language లో అర్థం కావాలంటే who are those two parties అంటే that one party is seller, other party is buyer. Understand? Okay, the seller is also called as a drawer because he is the person who is preparing and drawing the bill. The buyer is the person who will read the bill and who will accept the bill. Therefore, he is called as a drawee, the acceptor. Understood? Okay, so this is a basic point. Okay, whose signature is important in case of a bill of exchange? The drawee signature, the buyer signature is important. After signing the bill, it is handed over to whom back again? The drawer will keep with himself the bill. Therefore, the drawer is called as holder of the bill. Until he receives, until due date, he can keep with him. Otherwise, if he is in urgent need of money, he can transfer the bill and he can endorse it to some other party. He would be called as a payee or the holder of the instrument. ఓకే, డ్యూ డేట్ వరకు కావాలంటే సెల్లర్ లేకపోతే డ్రాయర్ తన దగ్గరే ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ని బిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. లేదా ఈ లోపల అతనికి డబ్బు అవసరం అయిందనుకోండి, ఆ పర్టికులర్ డ్రాయర్ గారి సెల్లర్ గారి ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ఏం చేయొచ్చు? ఎండోర్స్ చేయొచ్చు వేరే వాళ్ళకి. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో దిస్ ఈస్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ బిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్. దేర్ఫోర్ బిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ ఇది కూడా ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ఇన్ రైటింగ్ మోర్ అలా ఇక్కడ the bill of exchange is also an instrument in writing containing an unconditional order. Here is also an unconditional order. Here the acceptor at the time of acceptance he should not keep any conditions. Please, very very important point, please note down. The acceptor, whoever is accepting the bill, before signing, you would say, I would make a payment only when the goods I bought from you are once again they are resold it. I would make a payment only at Himalayas. If you come to Himalayas, there both of us will go to Himalayas and I will make payment to you over near Himalayas. Is it possible? Okay. No, I will make payment only after 3 more months extra. No, if he's keeping some conditions, the drawer should not accept for it. Okay, that is called conditional acceptance, which is not at all valid. Okay, therefore it should be unconditional, signed by the maker. Maker means the person here. The maker means here the drawee who is accepting the bill. Who is seller here? Maker means who is seller, directing a certain person to pay certain sum of money only. Understand? Okay, so in bill of exchange, between whom the bill is prepared? Seller and the buyer. Seller is the drawer who prepares the bill. Buyer is the person who accepts and who purchases the goods or credit. Therefore, he signs the bill. Whose signature is important in case of bill of exchange? Buyer's signature is important in case of bill of exchange. Okay, so these are the essentials of a bill of exchange. Here example: A wrote and signed on the instrument ordered B to pay 500 to C. Is it a bill of exchange? Okay, on demand, A pay to A or order sum of 500 for value received. Okay, so these are few. Whether if you write like ordering to pay B rupees 500 to C, is it valid? Because instead of paying it to B, he's ordering to pay it to somebody else. These are few small examples. Okay, we can have few more detailed examples. Here simply you have to receive, in case of bill of exchange there are two parties. Number one is the seller and other two parties the buyer. Seller you call him as a drawer, buyer you call him as a drawee or the acceptor. See here, the person who draws the bill is called a drawer and his liability is secondary to the holder. Okay, the person on whom the bill is drawn is a drawee, and once he accepts the bill, he becomes the acceptor, and his liability is primary and unconditional. Therefore, he is called as primary party liable on the instrument. And here in this particular case, a drawer and the payee could be the same persons. If the drawer keeps the instrument until the due date without endorsement, the drawer and payee are the same person. Otherwise, if the drawer, if he is in urgent need of money and if he endorses or transfers the instrument to some other party, that some other party who will receive the instrument is called as payee. Understood? So initially there are two parties. If the endorsement or transfer is made, you can get another party called as payee in case of a bill of exchange. And these are few essential points of a bill of exchange. It must be in writing and there is an express order to pay, and it should be definite and unconditional. It is signed by the drawer. Who will sign here? Not the drawer. The drawee must sign here. The drawee is nothing but the acceptor signature is important. The sum is certain. An order to pay money only. You cannot pay anything in kind. Here the amount is money only. In all three negotiable instruments, the payment is made only in cash. Kind is not acceptable and it is stamped. Even bill of exchange is also a stamped instrument. Okay, so this is all about a small example. Drawer is nothing but a seller. Drawee is nothing but the person who purchases the goods, have given the acceptance, prepared the bill of exchange that would made payment on the due date, and on the due date this drawer seller will show the document and the drawee will make the payment in form of cash. Then the transaction is closed or completed. Total transaction closed. Transaction ఎప్పుడు ఎండ్ అవుతుంది మేడం? బిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ కి ఎప్పుడు ఎండ్ వస్తుంది అంటే ఎప్పుడైతే బయ్యర్ ఎవరైతే ఆ పర్టికులర్ గూడ్స్ కొంటారో ఆ పర్టికులర్ బిల్ మీద ద బయ్యర్ ఇఫ్ హి మేక్స్ ద పేమెంట్ either to the drawer or to his order, then the transaction will be put an end and the instrument will be discharged. Okay, so this is all about your your bill of exchange. Okay, now until now we have seen two types of negotiable instruments. Number one is promissory note. Number two is a bill of exchange. In promissory note, we have two parties, that is maker and payee. Maker is a debtor, payee is the creditor. Maker is a person who prepares the promissory note and signs the promissory. In bill of exchange also there are initially two parties, that is seller and buyer. Seller is the person who will prepare the bill, therefore is called as drawer of the instrument, and buyer is the person who will accept and sign the bill, therefore he is called as drawee of the instrument or acceptor. Whose signature is important in bill of exchange? The drawee's or the acceptor signature is important. If the bill is endorsed by the drawer before the due date, the other person will become the payee or the holder of the instrument. Okay. So this is all about bill of exchange. And promissory note and bill of exchange on both the stamp, there are, according to Stamp Act, you can attach a stamp. Therefore, there are, this is called as a stamped instrument, and it is also called as a stamped instrument. Okay. Now, next, another important one is a check. Okay, check is this is also one form of a negotiable instrument, and we will know how many parties of a check. And first of all, let me explain you what is the meaning of a check here, and I will show you how the check looks like. See the check, I have given a small example of a check. Please look into that particular picture. Now, what is a check? As you all know, check is a kind of a negotiable instrument which has some value to it. Okay, who will give checks? If we have our account in any bank, then bank will issue us this particular book called checkbook. Who will issue? The bank will issue us. Okay. Now we will use ఆ checkbook ని మనం దేనికి వాడతాము? మనం ఎవరికైనా పేమెంట్ చేయాలంటే, పెద్ద అమౌంట్స్ లో పేమెంట్ చేయాలంటే, క్యాష్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ చేసే బదులుగా, క్యాష్ కి బదులుగా మనం చెక్ అనేది ఇస్తాము. అర్థమైందా నాన్న? మామూలుగా మనకి ఏ బ్యాంక్ లో అయితే అకౌంట్ ఉంటుందో ఆ బ్యాంక్ వాళ్ళు మనకి ఇచ్చే పర్టికులర్ ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ని, ఒక లీగల్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ని చెక్ గా మనం చెప్పచ్చు. ఓకే, మనకి ఎస్బీఐ బ్యాంక్ లో ఉంటే వి గెట్ ఎన్ ఎస్బీఐ చెక్ బుక్. ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ హెచ్డిఎఫ్సి బ్యాంక్, విల్ గెట్ ఎన్ హెచ్డిఎఫ్సి బ్యాంక్ చెక్ బుక్. అంతే కదా? ఓకేనా? అయితే మనము ఎవరికైనా పేమెంట్ చేయాలో, వెన్ వి గో టు ఏ షాప్ అండ్ వి పర్చేస్ electronic good which is worth of 2 lakhs and we need to pay amount of 2 lakhs to the shopkeeper, we can give him a check. Okay, so అలా మనం పెద్ద పెద్ద పేమెంట్స్ కానీ, బిజినెస్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ కానీ, క్యాష్ బదులుగా we can issue the check. Okay, so check is one of the instrument for making the payment. The person ఎవరైతే, the person who is making the check, ఓకే, అంతే కదా, ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as a debtor. యాజ్ ఇన్ అకౌంటింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ లో మనం చూసినట్లయితే, ఎవరైతే పేమెంట్ చేస్తారో for his expenses, the person who is making a payment for his expenditure, he is called as debtor of the check, and he will give his check under his signature. Ante kada, evaraithe payment cheyalo, that particular individual will give his check, and which is signed. The check will get to validity only when it is signed by the person who is giving the check. Okay, without signature, even the check is also an invalid. It is also equal to a paper. Without sign, the check is also invalid. Understood? Therefore, the check is given by the person who is making the payment on credit. The person who is writing the check and signing is called as drawer of the check. Please note it down, all these important points for each and every negotiable instrument. Okay, in case of a check, the person who prepares the check for his payment and signs the check is called as drawer of the check. And the person to whom the check is given, okay, that particular person is called as a payee or holder of the check. But who is an intermediary party, madam? Because in case of check, there are three parties: drawer, drawee, payee. You told drawer, the person who, anyone who have to make the payment on credit, he will give a check. You told drawer. And the person who have to receive the money, you told payee. Then who is this drawee in between? Drawee is nothing but a banker who will make a payment on behalf of the drawer or the debtor. ఎవరి తరపునైతే బ్యాంకర్ ఎవరి తరపునైతే పేమెంట్ చేస్తుందో ఆ బ్యాంక్ ని డ్రాయీ అంటామండి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఓకే, రాజు went to an electronic shop. Okay, Raju went to an Sona Vision electronic shop to purchase a very big LED TV for 2 lakh rupees. Okay, He went to the shop. Raju purchased a big LED TV for 2 lakh rupees. Instead of paying cash, Raju gave his check. Yes, he have an account in SBI bank. Therefore, he have taken an SBI checkbook and he gave an SBI check to that particular Sona Vision electronic goods seller. He gave that particular check to the shop owner. Okay, pay to Sona Vision Electronics Private Limited. He wrote their name, the company's name on that particular checkbook worth of 2 lakh rupees. He wrote the amount and he signed the checkbook and he signed the check, not book. He signed the check and gave the check to that particular owner of that particular company. He gave to the cashier. Okay, now I'm telling you, Raju is the drawer because he is the person who is preparing the check. And he is giving which bank check? SBI bank. Therefore, SBI bank is a drawee. SBI bank should make a payment to the holder or the payee who will present the check. Okay. Now, to whom the check is given? The check is given to the owner of that particular electronic shop. Okay. He is called as a payee. Therefore, they will take the check. No? Now, what this particular, shop owners, what they will do? They'll have the check with them. Okay, after 1 or 2 days, they will take the check. They can directly credit the check in their own account or they can go and encash it accordingly. We will know when the types of check. When I explain you the types of check, I'll explain you in detail. Okay, accordingly, they can encash it over the counter or they can go and credit in their account. Okay, therefore, check is always payable on demand. That is why they say whenever you receive the check in 1 or 2 days, you can encash it. That is why it is called as payable on demand. You need not wait for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Okay, you need not wait. And the validity period of a check is 3 months, they say. Okay, you need not wait 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Okay, now here the Raju who purchased electronic goods, the purchaser, because he's making an expenditure, he has to make the payment instead of cash, is giving a check to the seller, shop owner. Since he's giving SBI bank check, the bank is called as paying banker or the drawee. Now you understood the 3 parties in case of a check. There are 3 parties in case of a check: drawer, drawee, and payee. Drawer is a person who makes the payment. Either he can be a purchaser, he can be an employer in an organization, anybody, whoever have to make the payment. The person who is making the payment, debtor, is called as a drawer. The bank which is making payment on behalf of drawer is called as drawee bank. It is a bank here. And the person who is receiving the money from the debtor is called as payee or holder of the check. And check is, write down this particular important point, check is always payable on demand. Understood? Check is always payable on demand. Whenever you go and present the check to the banker, then you will receive the payment. And there is no stamping on check. The word stamp is not applicable to check. Okay, there is no stamping in case of a check. Now, let us see here the essentials of check. It must be in writing. It must contain an unconditional order to pay. Here also there should not be any condition. And the check is signed with, I told you, without signature the check is invalid. The person who makes the payment should mandatorily sign. Therefore, it must be signed by the drawer. Okay, and the amount you are writing on the check should be certain amount money only. Here also kind is not acceptable. And it is drawn on a specified bank and it is payable on demand. Very, very important. And an important note is a check does not require any stamping or acceptance. What is not required in case of a check? Stamping or acceptance is not required in case of a check. Okay. So here how many parties are there in case of a check? I have already told you, drawer, drawee, payee. The person who makes the check or who have to make a payment on the check, who prepares the check is called as drawer. The person to whom check is drawn. అంటే ఏ బ్యాంక్ ఎవరి తరపునైతే పేమెంట్ చేయాలో దాన్ని డ్రాయీ or paying banker అంటారు. The bank which is making payment on behalf of drawer is called as drawee or paying bank, and another word is paying bank also you can write. అండ్ ఎవరికైతే మనం అమౌంట్ పే చేస్తామో, ఎవరైతే అమౌంట్ రిసీవ్ చేసుకోవాలో వాళ్ళని పేయి అంటామండి. ఓకేనా? దీస్ ఆర్ 3 వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ పార్టీస్ ఫర్ అ చెక్. ఓకే, the check includes an electronic image of truncated check and check in an electronic form. I will explain you what does this exactly mean. Okay, what is called as a truncated check, madam? Generally, suppose when we have a check with us, what do we do? If the check we can't go and encash it over the counter because it is a crossed check. I'll explain what is the meaning of crossed check in later class. If we have a crossed check with us, what we will do? We will go to our bank where we are having an account. Suppose we got an SBI check. Okay, that one person had to make us payment. We got an SBI check. We have account in Andhra Bank. What I will do, I'll take the SBI check, I'll go to Andhra Bank and deposit there. I will take a small slip, I will write my name, my account details, and I will attach it to the check and I will put it there in the drop box, that particular check. Okay, after 2 or 3 days, in my account, the amount will be credited. How it is possible? This process of crediting the amount, okay, by depositing our check with our bank, this process of crediting is called truncation. This process is done by a clearing house. Okay, there is one process of clearing means the SBI bank will debit from the particular debtor's account and they will credit into my account. Okay, this process is called as clearing process. Okay, this is called as clearing process. Okay, now what is an electronic check, madam? This just you know, that's all. What is an electronic check, madam? Suppose some banks will, instead of giving us a paper check, they will give us checks in electronic form. So for this particular electronic form, where you have to just, they'll give you an ID and password. If you log into it, you will get exact mirror image of check. Okay, on your screen. When you are traveling abroad, when you have a continuous travel, it will take, you cannot deposit checks from different countries. No, it takes so much time to travel. So for that, what you can do for easy payment, you can transfer this electronic check. For that, you need a digital signature. Okay, it's a digital signature. You should have a digital signature with you. Then you can access an electronic check. And for whomever you want to make a payment, you can just write the amount and person's name and sign it through digital signature. And you can, by click of the button, the check will be transferred to them. Okay, this is called as an electronic check, where you can see the electronic check on your computer screen, which is an exact mirror image of the check. This you know only for the sake of information. No way they will ask you in examination as a theoretical question, please write about electronic check or truncated check. This is for your information. Okay, so these are the important points relating to check. Okay, now until now we have seen the very important 3 negotiable instruments. What are the 3 important negotiable instruments here? The 3 important negotiable instruments are bill of exchange, promissory note, and check. And how many parties are there in promissory note? 2 parties, maker, pay. In bill of exchange, 2 parties, drawer, drawee. In case of check, there are 3 parties, drawer, drawee, and payee. Okay, in all the 3 cases, signature is very, very important. Then only the negotiable instrument is valid. Who is important to make payment in case of a promissory note? Maker. Therefore, his signature is important. In case of a bill of exchange, who is important to make the payment? The drawee, the buyer. Therefore, his signature is important on the instrument. And in case of a check, who is important to make the payment? The drawer, who gives the check. So his signature is important. And the person whose signature is important and who have to make the payment is called as primary party liable on the instrument. Another name for him is primary party liable on the instrument. Understood? These 3 are very, 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 very important points in case of a bill, promissory note, and a check. And bill of exchange and promissory note are stamped instruments, where a check, their stamp is not at all required. In all the 3 cases, you should pay only money. Kind is not at all allowed. And payment of money should also be certain. Okay. So acceptance is important in case of a bill of exchange, but in case of a check, no need acceptance. These are important points relating to bill of exchange and check. Now from this you can know the difference between bill of exchange and a promissory note, bill of exchange and a check. Okay, so I will tell you here very important point I want to tell you. What is called as dishonor, madam? Okay, first let me explain you the point of dishonor, because each and every point are very important and negotiable instrument, and only when you understand the particular word, then only you can understand the concept. Okay, what is called as dishonor, madam? Suppose in case of a promissory note, the maker, as you all know, maker promises that to payee, saying that to the lender, he would promise saying that lender to antadamata maker, I promise to pay your 5 lakh rupees along with the interest of 10% after 6 months. Okay, then the payee, the holder of the instrument, what he will do, lender, whether he can wait, he will wait, otherwise he will endorse to some other person. డ్యూ డేట్ వరకు వెయిట్ చేసిన వాడు డ్యూ డేట్ రోజు will the lender ask the borrower, please pay my amount? Yes, he will ask no. Okay, lender pay అడుగుతాడు, ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ చూపించి, తన చేతిలో ఉన్న ప్రామిసరీ నోట్ చూపించి, ఇలా మేకర్ నువ్వు పే చేస్తా అన్నావు కదా 6 months తర్వాత, పే చేస్తావా అని అడుగుతాడు. అప్పుడు when maker says that if he is ready to pay, he will take the instrument and make the payment, and the instrument is discharged హ్యాపీగా. పేమెంట్ కి రెడీ పేమెంట్ తన డబ్బు ఉంది అనుకోండి తన దగ్గర, మేకర్ దగ్గర పేమెంట్ చేస్తాడు, ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ తీసేసుకుంటాడు, ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ డిశ్చార్జ్ అయిపోతుంది. అలా కాకుండా మేకర్ దగ్గర 6 months అవుతా మనీ లేదు టు డిశ్చార్జ్ హిస్ లోన్, టు మేక్ ద పేమెంట్. దెన్ హి సేస్ ఐ కాంట్ మేక్ ద పేమెంట్. అప్పుడు ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ఏమవుతుంది? వాట్ విల్ హ్యాపెన్ టు ద ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్? ఎప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? లెండర్ కి డబ్బు ఇచ్చిన వాడి పరిస్థితి ఏంటి? ద ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ఈస్ డిసానర్డ్. ద ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ ఈస్ dishonored because he is not ready to make the payment. Okay, that is the term called as dishonor. On the due date, when the primary party liable, if they do not make the payment on the due date, then what will happen? Instrument gets dishonored. If there are any prior parties, then the holder of the instrument gives the notice telling to all the prior parties, notice is the prior parties అందరికి, చూడండి ఇలాగ డ్యూ డేట్ రోజు మన పీపీఎల్ ఎవరైతే పే చేయాలో ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్ మీద వాడు పే చేయని అంటున్నాడు, డబ్బులు పే చేయని అంటున్నాడు, తెలుసుకోండి ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అని నోటీస్ ఆఫ్ డిజానర్ ప్రైయర్ పార్టీస్ కి ఇస్తారు. ప్రైయర్ పార్టీస్ ఉన్నట్లయితే ఇన్ ద కేస్ ఆఫ్ ఎండోర్స్మెంట్. Understand, this is called as notice of dishonor. Now understand what's the term dishonor? The term dishonor comes in the case when, ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది అంటే the term dishonor, when the person who have to make the payment on the instrument on the due date, if he fails to make the payment or if he fails to give acceptance for payment, then the instrument gets dishonored. Okay, now this is all about the point of dishonor. You will learn some more in detail as we go on. You will learn some more points regarding dishonor. Capacity of parties, I have already told you, no? In case of negotiable instrument, there can be minors. Minor can be a debtor. Okay, when you can sell goods on credit to a minor. As per the Indian Contract Act, can you sell goods to a minor? On credit, no. Can you borrow? Can if a minor come and ask you for money, will you lend money to a minor? Does he have any repaying capacity? Even though he have repay, if he fails to repay, can you file a case against him? If you don't get your money back and you file a case against minor, it is invalid. No. Therefore, what Negotiable Act is saying? A minor cannot endorse or cannot draw or prepare a negotiable instrument. Okay. Therefore, insolvent is also not competent to enter into a contract. A person who is an insolvent, a person who is a minor cannot enter into a negotiable instrument, cannot prepare a negotiable instrument, cannot enter into a negotiable instrument act. Okay, an insolvent or a minor cannot enter into a negotiable instrument act. Can he agent? Madam, instead of the principal agent, can he prepare negotiable instrument? Yes, he can prepare, but he should specifically, in clear terms, he should mention it as is writing as an agent of so and so person only. Okay, now in case of an agent if he signs a negotiable instrument or prepares a negotiable instrument, he should specifically mention that he is acting in case that he is acting on behalf, is preparing the instrument on behalf of an principal. That can be a maker or a page. He should expressly specify that he's acting as an agent only. Then only he'll be not liable. Otherwise, he'll be liable in case of a negotiable instrument. Partner. In case of a partnership firm, a partner can, on behalf of the firm, can prepare, sign, make, endorse, draw the instrument, but he would sign in name of a partner here also. And all other partners are also equally responsible, because in case of a business transaction, in case of a partnership firm, if partner prepares, signs and makes, he will make even other partners also liable on the instrument. Okay, this is all about your capacity of partners. Next. This I have already told. Who is called as holder of the instrument? Holder of the instrument means a person who legally possesses the instrument and who have a right to take money on the instrument and who can endorse or transfer the particular instrument. However, finder of lost goods is not a holder. The three important points for a holder: in order to become a holder of a negotiable instrument, he should have legal possession of the instrument in his name. Okay, and he have a right to receive money on it, and he can transfer the negotiable instrument. He is called as a holder of the negotiable instrument. Then who is holder in due course, madam? I have already told you, no, holder in due course should have three qualifications. What are those three qualifications? He should take the instrument in good faith. He should take the instrument for consideration. He should take the instrument for maturity. Then only he will be called as holder in due course, and he will have some advantages in negotiable instrument act. Okay, understood? In order to become a holder in due course, he have to take the instrument in good faith for consideration before maturity. Then only he will enjoy the benefits of a negotiable instrument. In negotiable instrument, holder in due course can enjoy the benefits. What are the benefits enjoyed by the holder in due course? We'll see in the next class. Okay, so these are the prima facie important essential elements of a negotiable instrument. Okay, hope everyone understood the basics of negotiable instrument. What is negotiable instrument? Means to where all it is applicable. Okay, and what are the essential features of a negotiable instrument? What are the three recognized negotiable instruments? Who are parties of the negotiable instrument? Who are capacity of parties for the purpose of transaction under Negotiable Instrument Act? And we have seen the difference between holder and holder in due course. For today, I will stop till here, and tomorrow we will continue the remaining part of the negotiable instrument. Okay, so this is all very, very important basic concepts. Please listen again for coming tomorrow's class, because if you are thorough with the basics, then the remaining part you can understand easily. Okay, I don't want to give you so much of today itself the entire NI Act. Because if you digest whatever I have told you today, whatever I have told you, నేను చెప్పిన విషయాలని క్షుణ్ణంగా మీరు అర్థం చేసుకోగలిగితే, ఈ టర్మినాలజీ డిఫరెంట్ టర్మినాలజీస్ మనం చెప్పుకున్నాం. ఆ పార్టీస్ సంబంధించిన టర్మినాలజీ అంతా కూడా మీరు చక్కగా జాగ్రత్తగా విని అర్థం చేసుకొని మళ్ళీ మీరు ఒకసారి అర్థం చేసుకొని tomorrow's class మీరు వస్తే the remaining aspects, tomorrow we'll see about the remaining aspects of negotiable instruments, which is very, very important topic, and for day-to-day life also this negotiable instrument is important. Okay, so hope everyone understood, and with this I'll stop for today and see you tomorrow. And if you have any doubts also, you can ask me. Okay, so this is all about your basics of negotiable instruments. Okay. Okay, so these all are basics of negotiable instruments. So with this we have seen the introduction. In today's class lo manaki introduction matke aindamma. Okay, so with all your practical questions also I will explain you. There are simple practical questions in negotiable instrument. I'll explain you in tomorrow's class, because please everyone come tomorrow with thorough introduction part, because this introduction you should understand properly. Then in tomorrow's class we will discuss once you complete some part of negotiable instruments, even I'll explain you the practical questions and bits of negotiable instrument, whether it is true or false. We will discuss in tomorrow or day after tomorrow session. We'll definitely have practical questions. I will explain you the practical questions also. Hope you all understood the today's session, the introduction. Please listen and come tomorrow, same time and same place. Thank you so much. Have a happy evening. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.